Previously on Lawyer Lloyd.
You know, I was in a car wreck yesterday.
Oh, no! Well, are you okay?
Is the insurance gonna give me a rental?
As of this point, we can't commit to anything.
This is at the base of your head. How do these feel?
They hurt.
Hey!
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm David. So this is our body shop.
Okay.
Hey, Brett. Update me on Parnell.
Being made whole is exactly what that means, to put you back into the situation where you were before the accident. Monetarily, we can't unfortunately put you back and undo the hands of time and take away the injuries and results of the injuries, but the value of the case is a realistic value. Being made whole does not mean that you've won the lottery. Being made whole basically means that their lost wages were compensated for. The value of your vehicle was repaired or total loss. The out-of-pocket expenses were also recapped at that point right there. It's not a profit situation. That's not what being made whole is. An eye for an eye. It's not an eye for two eyes. So we look at it from the standpoint of the result is going to be fair, and if it's not, and if the clients decide that this is the situation and they want to go to court, we'll sit down and we'll talk about those possibilities as well. And sometimes it's necessary, most of the time it's not.
Hey, Johnny, this is Lloyd.
Hi, Lloyd. How are you?
Hey, good. How you feeling?
Oh, you know, still in a little bit of pain, but I'm trying not to complain.
Well, I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that. You just called to get a status update on what's going on?
Right.
Well, after we met, we talked about getting some more evidence, and I got Dr. Bewley's stuff. It's coming in. There's a little bit more documentation we needed from him. Some of the stuff that we talked about that supports your daily life disruptions with your mom and with work. Some of the lost wage documentation, we've got that coming in. As soon as we get that, I'll be able to then finish my evaluation and do a demand package to the insurance company, get it off to them so they can begin their evaluation. And so we're getting probably pretty close to maybe getting this thing wrapped up, possibly enter into settlement negotiations.
Oh, sounds good. I mean, have you got any thoughts or ideas of what my settlement could possibly be at this point, or no?
You know, I know that we're still looking at the evidence, still waiting for things to come in, but as far as the value on it, really a lot of that has to do with how the insurance company is going to respond to the evidence. I can easily tell you that whatever I do, I'm going to go to the insurance company and just ask them for policy limits for a starting place. I don't think that your case, honestly, is got the value to a policy limits case, but if you had some evidence there that later on you might need a surgery, then that might be a policy limits type case. But so most likely it'll be less than policy limits, but it's more of a process, Johnny. I think once we get it to them, they take a look at it, they'll find out how hard they want to defend it or how hard they want to cooperate and compromise with this. I think we'll get a better idea with a final position from them. You'll find out at some point, as soon as I know, once we get into settlement negotiations, there'll be a final position. There may be a few offers going back and forth, but then you and I will sit down and we'll talk about it and we'll figure out whether we feel that's fair, whether we feel that's going to be something that compensates you in a reasonable fashion. You've been through a lot.
This is Dr. Bewley.
Yeah, hey Doc, Lloyd Benedict, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Lloyd. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to follow up and see how Johnny Parnell is doing. We've been getting a few of your records here and there, and I just really want to get a status.
Well, Lloyd, she's progressing very well right now. When she first came in, she had a lot of restrictions in her neck and a lot of pain, but she has responded to care. And I think probably in about 2 or 3 weeks we'll be wrapping this up.
Okay, that's good news. That's real good news. Is there, you didn't feel a need for like an MRI or a specialist or anything like that?
Well, normally what we do, Lloyd, is that if a patient doesn't respond to care, then we usually refer to either a specialist or do an MRI, but she has responded to everything that we've done to her. And that's not saying that she might not need any referral in the future, but right now she's progressing real well.
Okay, cool. What about her injuries? Do you think that they're going to be permanent or long-lasting?
I think her injuries will be permanent. I think she's going to get to the point where she's going to be as good as she can get. She'll be feeling a lot better, but she will not be 100%.
Okay. All right. Did she give you any kind of any things that were going on in her personal life, any restrictions at work or any problems that she was having in her personal life as far as daily activities?
Yes. She, at her work, she does do some heavy lifting, and I have her right now I have her refraining from doing that by herself, to seek out help and have someone help her. And also at home, she's taking care of a family member that requires a lot of attention, and I told her not to be lifting that person by herself.
Okay. Are her injuries consistent with a rear-end collision?
Yes, very much. She is pretty much typical rear-end collision.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, Doc, then I guess we'll probably see some records come in here in a couple of weeks then?
Yes. What I'll do is on the next reevaluation I'll do on her, what we'll do is just send them over to your office, and we'll just take it from there.
Okay. And if I need to get a narrative report, are you okay with that?
Just let me know what you need.
Okay. All right. Well, pretty much what we focused on this discussion, but I'll take a look at the records. Maybe it's already in there. And hopefully this ought to go without a hitch.
Sounds good to me.
All right, Doc. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Lloyd.
Airbags are designed at what speed? A, 12 miles per hour, B, 14 miles per hour, or C, 16 miles per hour? The answer, right after this break.
Over 6,337 people are injured in a car crash each day in the United States, and each crash can affect your day-to-day lives from having nothing to drive to severe bodily injury. At Benedict Law Office, we are here to help you through this tragedy and get your life back on track. For over 25 years, Lloyd Benedict has been successfully handling and resolving personal injury cases. If you can't come to the office, we'll meet you, whether it's at your home, office, or by phone. Look us up on our website or call at 918-477-7000. A car crash changes everything instantly. How you get to work, heal from the injuries, to repairing your car. Not to mention how this affects your family members' lives. The Lawyer Lloyd Show is to educate people about what you need to know to best deal with an accident. It's more than just calling the insurance company. It's about understanding the importance of having an attorney to guide you through this crash, but more importantly, knowing that you are not going through this accident alone. Seen every Monday at noon and on Wednesdays 11:30 at night, right here on KWHB TV 47.
Airbags are designed at what speed? A, 12 miles per hour, B, 14 miles per hour, or C, 16 miles per hour? The answer is C, 16 miles per hour, based upon striking a parked car at 16 miles per hour or faster.
Typically, after we send a demand package to the insurance company, it's going to take a couple of weeks for them to evaluate, depending on their workload. One of the first calls that we're going to make is a follow-up to find out, one, did they receive the demand package? The demand package being all the evidence that we have evaluated and prepared into a summary format to them and submit it to them. They'll review it. They may have a medical provider take a look at it who works for the insurance company so they can explain the nature and extent of the injuries to them. They're looking for defenses at that point. If we've played our cards right and we've shaped our vase right, we've anticipated what their defenses are going to be. So we've shaped the case to present to them with the answer to those questions that we know they're going to ask. So the follow-up phone call that we make after we send a demand package is really the first place to start to find out what their thoughts are.
Allstate Farm, this is Derek.
Yeah, hey Derek, Lloyd Benedict. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. You and I have got a claim together on a Johnny Parnell. I can give you a claim number if that'll help you out.
Okay.
It's OK 215-596.
Yes, I took over the file, so let me pull that up. Yes, for Johnny Parnell. Yes, I do have it here. How can I help you?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I sent you a demand package, and I really wanted to see if you had a chance to take a look at it and get your thoughts on it at this point.
Yes, I did, and I had a few concerns. First, my insured, Mr. Dozier, says that Miss Parnell's light turned green, that she moved forward about 10 feet and then slammed on her brakes, causing the accident. So I am placing 25% of the fault on her. Then she did not go to the doctor for 4 days, so it looks like her injuries are minimal, soft tissue, if any. Also, I reviewed her treatment with a chiropractor, and it looks like that she overtreated these minor injuries. So I'm not considering the whole amount for the medical bills, but to compromise this matter, I'm willing to offer her a settlement for the amount of her medical bills. I really don't see any value beyond that.
Okay. You know, I've got some additional evidence here that I'm going to go ahead and forward you that you've kind of raised some interesting questions on your concerns at this point. Like, one, I don't know if you realize this, but there was a security video from a business out there that captured the collision on that, and I think that by me looking at that, I can clearly see that no, that's not true. Her light was green the whole time. She never stopped. She proceeded forward, and then Mr. Dozier just crashed into the rear end of her vehicle, and so he was looking down at the time. That makes me think that possibly he was on his cell phone. If we can't get this thing settled, I'm probably going to need to discover Mr. Dozier's cell phone records and confirm the fact that he was on his phone possibly texting. If he was, you know I'm going to be asking for punitive damages on that as well. So that's something that I really think that Mr. Dozier's 100% insured. I really can't engage the idea that Johnny is even 1% negligent on this. It's a rear-end collision. There's a presumption of negligence on that. You're going to have a tough time getting around that. I really, from my standpoint, we're going to stand at 100%. I really can't even compromise on that at all. Secondly, you've mentioned about her delay in treatment, going to the doctor. I think Ms. Parnell clearly was reasonable to wait a couple of days to find out if her symptoms were going to subside. They didn't. She finally ended up going to see her chiropractor. She stayed with her treatment plan. She was very diligent about making all the appointments, did what the doctor said. And I've spoke with Dr. Bewley. He believes her injuries are permanent. And I think we need to focus on that as well. This is not just a typical sprain, strain type injury that resolves itself within 12 to 18 weeks. We have somebody that's going to have some concerns with these injuries for quite a while. So I really want you to take a look at that. We've also got some evidence on how life was before the collision with Ms. Parnell versus after the collision. I don't know if you realize this, but she has a mother that she takes care of that has dementia. In fact, her and her sister take turns on taking care of their mom, like taking them back and forth to the doctor, helping her clean the house, hygiene issues. Before the collision, there was no problems there. They were able to share time and help her mom out. After the collision, Johnny physically couldn't do these things, couldn't drive her back and forth to the doctor. It hurt too much to turn her head back and forth, and that probably just wasn't really safe to try to do that with her mom in a frail condition like that. And Johnny just not really being able to safely drive. The fact that Johnny couldn't go over there and do chores at the house, run the vacuum sweeper, or help pick up, or help her wash her hair, or do other hygiene issues, things that she had normally done before. Her sister Debbie, who they used to take turns on this because it's such a burden, Debbie had to take over that responsibility 100%. Because of that, Debbie had to miss a lot of work. In fact, Debbie almost got fired from her job because of this. I can show you evidence on how that created problems in there. This has taken quite a bit of toll on the Parnell family, and I really think that you need to see that evidence before you finish your evaluation. But I will get that stuff to you, and I think you'll have an opportunity to really take a look at this from a different light. Another point I want to mention out too is that Johnny was really active at her church. As a result of her injuries, she had missed about a month of church, could attend services. The volunteer work that she had done at church, she had problems with that as well. I think they used to build handicap ramps for the elderly and a lot of physical activity. She couldn't do that. Johnny's job, she missed, several weeks worth of work, and when she was able to return back to work, she couldn't lift. Her boss had to hire another person to do all the heavy lifting. and there's going to be evidence showing that. So just take the medical that you think is just overinflated or unreasonable for a soft tissue injury and scoot that to the side. When you take a look at this new evidence, I want you to see the reality of how this injury took a toll on Johnny's life. And I think that at that point there, you and I should talk again, and you tell me what you think about this case. And if I haven't convinced you, then yeah, maybe we'll proceed further and possible litigation. But I think once you see this, you'll probably understand that we do have a case with strong evidence that we should be able to sit down and compromise and settle.
Okay, well, I'll take a look at that, and I'll get back with you soon.
All right, Derek. Well, I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Which state has the highest percentage of failed takers for the 2016 bar exam? Is it A, Arkansas, B, the District of Columbia, or C, Oklahoma? The answer right after this break.
Over 6,337 people are injured in a car crash each day in the United States, and each crash can affect your day-to-day lives from having nothing to drive to severe bodily injury. At Benedict Law Office, we are here to help you through this tragedy and get your life back on track. For over 25 years, Lloyd Benedict has been successfully handling and resolving personal injury cases. If you can't come to the office, we'll meet you, whether it's at your home, office, or by phone. Look us up on our website or call at 918-477-7000. A car crash changes everything instantly. How you get to work, heal from the injuries, to repairing your car. Not to mention how this affects your family members' lives. The Lloyd Show is to educate people about what you need to know to best deal with an accident. It's more than just calling the insurance company. It's about understanding the importance of having an attorney to guide you through this crash, but more importantly, knowing that you are not going through this accident alone. Seen every Monday at noon and on Wednesdays 11:30 at night, right here on KWHB TV 47.
Which state has the highest percentage of failed takers for the 2016 bar exam? Was it A, Arkansas, B, the District of Columbia, or C, Oklahoma? The answer is B, the District of Columbia, where only 42% passed. Oklahoma had 68%.
First party is a person that pay us to insure them. But if you're in my car, you're part of my policy now. But you also, you're also a third party as well. I mean, and that's the thing. I was telling him, a lot of times the money people get from attorneys is they understand the system. And most lay people don't understand the system. They don't understand things that they're due. They don't understand to think about, different types of things like that. They don't, a lot of people will come in and be like, well, my insurance company's paying that. Yeah, but once they find out that, they're going to want their money back, I mean, that's the problem. That's the problem with our health care. Not just these, but they should walk in and say, this is an injury claim. This is not on my insurance. You never know what somebody's going to say. But now, like if it's a first party, we don't always record first party. If I think there's something that can be used against him in a court of law, I will tell him, only answer the questions I'm asking you because we're recorded, and then I'm going to turn it off, and then we're going to talk. It doesn't happen very often, but I mean it's the rule. I mean you don't want to put your insured in danger. I mean, your job is to protect your insured. I mean, when we go to pay a claim, we're never going to give you a dime until you sign off, because our goal is to protect our insured. I mean, as a third-party adjuster, my job is to make sure my insured doesn't get sued. You understood your file. You knew your file when you called in. You knew the person. You'd met with them. And you could talk about why you felt the claim was worth more than maybe we were giving it. And you understand that there's a process that goes on with insurance companies, and somewhat of a game, albeit nobody likes to hear that. We need to be able to negotiate back and forth and show that we negotiated the claim. We didn't just jump from where we're at to the end. They want to see us negotiate. You understood the process, so as long as we were moving toward where you needed to get your client, you weren't bothered by that. You understood that this is not a 2-day affair. This could take a while to get it done, and you understand the person's also treating or just finished treating. So you had good control of your clients. I don't think you had clients calling you upset, dying to have money. Today you'd kind of set them up with how they knew that there's a process here and that it would get resolved. They understand all the things that go on, that the insurance company should pay you for time missed. Like if you're an hourly wage person and you missed work, you're due the pay that you lost. I mean, if you've had to use vacation time to do some of your treatment because that's how your company works, then you're due that. You're due mileage. There's so many different things out there. If the company repaired your car and it's got major damage, you're due more, because when you resell that car also, it's not going to be worth as much as if it had not been in an accident. I mean, there's so many little things out there that these attorneys do every day. I mean, I tell this to people all the time. I never need to fix plumbing in my house. I need to hire a plumber. That's what they do. This is what attorneys do. I mean, that's why this works so well, is when you have a problem, you hire a professional that knows what they're doing. So I think if you get an attorney that cares about their client, like you do, I think that you get taken care of better. I think it's huge on both sides, not only in managing your client and giving them a proper expectation on what they're doing. I mean, I remember an attorney telling me that he told all of his clients, you didn't just win the lottery, you just got in a car accident. And he would kind of give them what he thought the value of the claim was and kind of warm them to that thought. But I think on the other side of it is, I'm more apt to deal with an attorney that I deal with on a regular basis. Somebody who calls me and knows my first name, and this is not the first time we've talked. It's easier for me to resolve a file with you than someone I don't know. I think people, we're all that way. Even myself, when I go buy a lottery ticket, I think we're all that way. We want that big payday. And I think that they want to come out of this feeling like they did well. And to be honest, that should be the goal of the attorney, is to make sure that their client is as happy as they reasonably can be. Yeah, I've heard people say that. I've heard attorneys say that. I've heard a lot of people say that. Most of the time they want times 3 their bills. And sometimes, the things that people run into is the biggest problem is sometimes some of the medical is so expensive. If you fly in Life Flight, it's incredibly expensive to have a Life Flight trip. It will eat up a ton of a person's money, because I think the one thing that people get confused about is there's not an open-ended amount of money out there for a person. It depends on what the limits that the other person had on their claim is what they can get. Some people have lots of insurance to protect themselves where they don't get sued. Some people have the minimum policy. You see a lot more people when they get hit by a commercial vehicle, because commercial limits are higher. You see a lot of those people, and even attorneys know that they're going to get paid more because it's a commercial vehicle. Pain and suffering is, lots of different things. It can be for having to have a scar on your face for the rest of your life, to having to go to work because you have to go to work to make money. You're an hourly pay, and your back really hurts bad. You sustained a serious impact, 3 or 4 cars, people going really fast. I've had cars hit motorcycles going 50 and 60 miles an hour. Someone who's legitimately hurt that still has to go to work. The minute they can deal with the pain, they go to work. That's not something that they would have normally had to deal with. And that's an extreme situation, but people having their eyes blacked from a car wreck, or having their arm in a sling and they're actually trying to teach class. When you're a kindergarten or first grade teacher, you pick kids up, you help kids. So there's all sorts of things out there that you have to look at in those situations, and attorneys are good at looking at that and realizing, how does this affect your life? How has this accident changed your life for the short term? We all hope that it never affects it for the long term. A lot of times it does, and that drives the value on that.
A lot of people have a different misconception as to what is a fair settlement, what is the value of the case, what is their case worth. Simply put, and I've mentioned before, a case really is valued what a jury is going to be able to determine what it's worth. Fortunately, most of these cases could be settled, but there's some are going to be an end position with the insurance companies through negotiations where they're saying, this is what we're willing to do. And at that point, we have to sit down and, of course, explain the options to our client. Here's what we have. We have the settlement offer and how it breaks up. There's really no kind of ear tag for this amount for medical bills, this amount for pain and suffering, this amount for lost wages. It's really kind of a lump sum.